It's the game usually seen in pubs for the cost of a few bucks a shot, and it used to be played by all the wrong people. But snooker and its cousin pool have been hitting the headlines in Australia this week. We've seen a controversial scandal and then a huge triumph, as Aussie guy Neil Robertson took out the World Championships in the UK. Let's check out this very different type of activity. It's the sport that has not one ball, but 22. It's played on a green surface, but it's not grass. Its players are rarely breathless, although they often hold their breath. And unlike many sports out there, this is one game that Australians have hardly ever dominated. Well, that was until now.
From Australia, Neil Robertson.
Meet Neil Robertson, the 28-year-old guy that hits him like no other Aussie has. Although he sounds a lot like another Aussie sportsman.
It's in.
This was the final of the World Championships, a game that took as long to play out as 9 footy matches. But for the guy who started playing the game competitively at 14 with no money to his name, he wasn't going to let the opportunity pass him by.
I came over to Cambridge with 500 quid in my pocket and I had to borrow a waistcoat off another Australian player. I couldn't afford to buy one.
But that's all behind him now, with a $411,000 prize from this tournament alone. His mum was right there to support him, while his father cheered on from home in Melbourne. He says Neil always had the skills needed to be a pro.
You have to be calm in difficult circumstances where the pressure's enormous. He reaches a very good anxiety level.
And now he's proved he has what it takes. Neil has 2 goals: to climb to the top of the world rankings and to increase snooker's popularity back home. So here's a crash course in snooker, in case you want to get involved. This is how the table is set up. You have 15 red balls worth 1 point each. You also have an assortment of coloured balls, from the yellow ball worth 2 points, right up to the black ball worth 7 points. The aim is to sink a red ball followed by a coloured ball and so on. For each ball you sink, you get that amount of points. Coloured balls are put back on the table after being sunk, until all the red balls are off the table. Then players must sink all the coloured balls in a certain order. Once the final ball, the black one, is sunk, the person with the most points wins the game, or frame. So now you know how to play, you might want to know where you can play. Well, back in the old days, playing games like snooker and pool might have been pretty tough for kids, because smoky bars were the main places the game was played. Money was often bet on frames, and the game itself had a bit of a seedy reputation. But professional tournaments have usually had a much cleaner image. Although this year's comp did have a share of dodginess too. Controversy broke out just before the final after one of the top players in the game was allegedly caught on camera agreeing to fix matches. He's been suspended for now, but Aussie Neil Robertson is hoping he can use his reign as world champion to start repairing the reputation of his favourite sport.